looking at? The Trek Geeks Podcast Network is proud to have Fansets as its presenting sponsor. Fansets is the place for amazing pin collectibles with over 300 officially licensed Star Trek pins and new releases every single month. Stay tuned for a special discount code good on your next order at fansets.com just for Trek Geeks listeners. Fansets. Our pins have character.
This episode is also sponsored by Science Division, the makers of the galaxy's first interactive Tribble that you can control with your very own smartphone. Later on in this episode, we'll have a special discount code good on the adoption of your Tribble. So keep listening. Science Division. Trouble's never been this fun.
Hi, this is Andy Robinson, Elam Garrick on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and you are listening to the biggest little podcast this side of the Gamma Quadrant. It's the Trek Geeks Podcast with Dan Davidson and Bill Smith. Failure to tune in would not sit well with the Obsidian Order.
From Podfleet Command, it's the biggest little show this side of the Alpha Quadrant, the flagship of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages, and welcome to the Trek Geeks Podcast and episode number 249. I'm your co-host, Bill Smith. We're so excited to have you here this week. And of course, by we, I do mean my co-host and I. You know, last week I didn't really introduce him, and he kind of got all, upset about it, and he whined and complained and crawled off into a corner. So this week I want to give him an official introduction. He is the co-host. He's Dan Davidson. Hey, buddy, welcome to the show.
Hey, pal, that was great. Thank you. The co-host. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. 249. Wow. You thought I was going to throw a niner in there, didn't you? Wrong.
But technically you did.
Well, technically I did, but who's counting technicals? Unless you're a referee in the NBA, I'm really not sure. Anyway, but it's great to be here. Good to see you.
Well, half the time the refs in the NBA don't count them either.
That's good point. Good point.
Or traveling or anything else.
Any of that stuff. Oh, you can get away with 6 steps in the NBA now. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yet we digress. Dan, this week we start a special month-long series of content. We made a conscious decision to try to elevate the voices of African-American podcasters and content creators in Star Trek fandom. And we are starting to do that this week. So you and I are only part of this episode for really a brief amount of time. The bulk of today's episode is going to be handled by some incredible friends of ours.
Absolutely. This is a great collaboration that we're doing all month long to have voices of African-American podcasters be the guest podcasters here on the show to talk about topics that are important to them. And I got to say, we are kicking it off on the right foot with the SyFy Sistas. They are an amazing group of women. All of them, Tamia, Fran, Subrina, Yvette, and JD are getting together in this episode to talk about the legendary Nichelle Nichols and her character of Uhura and what it meant to them. And what's so great about these amazing women podcasters is that there's many generations of fans between the 5 of them. Some of them were alive and watched the first run of TOS back in the 60s. And one of them was born in the 90s. And I mean, it's amazing to be able to get that perspective about this character from people that are such different age brackets. And it's an amazing listen.
It really is. And I think the thing that people are going to notice right away is just the amazing positive, vibe that this conversation has. It's something that you and I were really excited to listen to when we first heard it a few days ago. And since then, we've been excited to let everyone else hear it. And that's going to happen in just a few minutes. Before that, Dan, why don't you tell everyone how they can get in touch with us for any questions, comments, or I don't know, maybe they want to send you possible introductions for Dan Davidson in future episodes.
Oh, that would be great because yours are getting kind of old. It's very easy to do that, man. We definitely want to hear from you. You can go to trekgeeks.com/contact, and there you can send us an email, a voicemail. You can chat with us. You can tweet right at us, or you can go to Facebook and head over to the official Facebook group for the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. It's called Camp Kittimer. It's the most positive Trek group on Facebook. We don't allow any trolling. We don't allow any gatekeeping. We only want people celebrating what they love about Star Trek. So just search for Camp Kittimer. We'll let you right in. And we want to thank our wonderful admins, Haley, Jackie, and Fark, for the amazing job that they do running the camp. But you have to also please remember that any comments or messages that you leave us in any of these places may be used in a future episode. Bill.
Wow. I'm still amazed that you can do that, but yet not get the name of the show right on occasion.
Geeps.
Trek Geeps.
That happened once. It did really happen. Yes, it did.
Way to go, buddy. Way to go. Dan, here we are. Another month has started. Of course, it's February 2021. Black History Month is upon us. Valentine's Day is approaching. Lots of good things happening, buddy.
Yeah, February isn't just the month for lovers, buddy. It's also the month of amazing Fansets pins. But you know what? Then again, what month isn't? Am I right?
Oh, you're right.
I know I'm always right. The newest pins available right now at fansets.com are Reeves from Discovery, Section 31's Luther Sloan from Deep Space Nine. Can't wait for that one. The latest Women of Trek pin, the fabulous nurse Christine Chappell from the original series. And finally, the magnetic-backed Picard Delta is available. And I got to tell you, this one's going to sell out quick.
Oh, very quick. Those are all fantastic new arrivals, Dan. Each and every one of them, I got to say, and that Nurse Chapel Women of Trek pin might be one of my favorites from that set. It is truly beautiful. So listeners, like we say every single week, get on over to fansets.com, put a bunch of stuff in your cart, like all of those awesome new pins Dan just told us about. And at checkout, be sure to enter this week's special Trek Geeks discount code word, Uhura. That's UHURA in all caps. That special code is going to get you an amazing 10% off your entire order. This offer is going to be good until February 10th, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, plus don't forget, when you spend more than $30, you're automatically going to get free shipping in the United States.
Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank our friends at Fansets for being the presenting sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. Bill, it's the season of love, and Science Division is celebrating in a big way.
Oh, they really are. Science Division has the perfect Valentine's Day gift, unique for the geek in your life. That's right. It's the galaxy's first app-enabled interactive Tribble. It's a fun and original gift your Valentine is absolutely going to love. Order your Tribble now at sciencediv.com, and for a limited time, it's going to arrive with a custom plush rose and a special festive packaging to show the special person in your life how they're no Tribble at all.
The Science Division Tribble is available now for only $69.99, but because you're a Trek Geeks listener, you get an additional $5 off your purchase by using the special discount code NYOTA. That's NYOTA in all capital letters. This code is good until Tuesday, February 9th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, remember, discount codes are not dangerous. In fact, they're pretty awesome.
That they are. Science Division. Trouble's never been this fun, and we thank our friends at Science Division for sponsoring this week's episode.
Welcome to the SyFy Sistas podcast, where we tell you our side. Today, we're talking about our queen, Lieutenant Nyota Uhura. I'm Tamia, and I'm joined by my sisters, Fran.
Hello.
Sabrina.
Hey, hey.
Yvette.
What's up?
And JD.
Hola.
Oh, before we get started, I just want to say, first of all, that this is the first time that all 5 sisters are recording together. So this is a historic moment, and we're really excited. So it's wonderful. Welcome, gals.
I got all my sisters with me.
Hey.
We are family.
I got all my.
It was a dance break, but we're back. And we'd also like to thank Bill and Dan at Trek Geeks for sharing this platform with us and for sharing it with other Black podcasters this month. It means a lot to us, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for the opportunity.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, because that is like really putting your, subscribers where your mouth is. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, Trek Geeks just totally rocks. It was it was my first Star Trek podcast. So I'm really excited to be here today. So we're talking about Lieutenant Uhura, the wonderful queen of Star Trek, the woman who is the reason why we SyFy Sistas exist today. But behind that character of Lieutenant Uhura is the incredible, wonderful, elegant, brilliant Nichelle Nichols. So Subrina, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got on Nichelle Nichols?
Absolutely. And just so you know, a lot of this is coming from her autobiography, which is called Beyond Uhura. But Nichelle Nichols was a star in every sense of the word before she set foot on the stage of Star Trek at the Desilu Studios. She was even a star before she met Gene Roddenberry, who cast her in her very first TV appearance in the series The Lieutenant. Opposite, believe it or not, Don Marshall and Gary Lockwood, who also starred in a couple of episodes of Star Trek. So back in New York, Nichelle Nichols knew Marlon Brando from her days in the New York theater. She was friends with James Baldwin from her role in his play Blues for Mr. Charlie. She toured as a dancer, and later she was featured as a singer in Duke Ellington and Lionel Hampton's bands. She made it to Broadway in Porgy and Bess with Sidney Poitier and Sammy Davis Jr., and she appeared in films with James Garner. And she was offered from this a very lucrative contract with MGM, following in the footsteps of Lena Horne, Dorothy Dandridge, and Ruby Dee. But she walked out on it, slamming the door in the face of the producer or the head of the studio, who was put the casting couch between her and the pen that she was going to sign that contract with. She walked away. So way before Me Too, Uhura was saying, not me.
Our sister was doing it.
Yes, that is who we are celebrating today, Nichelle Nichols.
Whoop, whoop. All right. So when you guys think about Lieutenant Uhura, give me one word that you think of when you think of Lieutenant Uhura. Fran?
Inspirational.
Nice. JD, what about you?
Underutilized.
Come on, sister.
3 SyFy Sistas snaps in a circle on that one.
That's for sure.
Yvette, what about you?
The first, because she was the first.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Subrina?
Transformative.
Yeah.
She absolutely transformed my little life.
That's so true. And I always think of elegant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every time, and I know that's some women like, oh, really? Yeah, you're going to go with elegant? I do, because there's so much power in her grace.
Oh, yeah.
I love her for that.
Elegant was one of mine on my list. So.
Elegant was on your list?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not alone.
Nope.
And she was so graceful. She was graceful on that screen.
She was.
Very graceful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have some myths about how she actually got this role, though. And, Subrina, you had some thoughts about that, right?
Yes, it's been a lot of yeti about how she got that. I think a lot of it happened, after all of the different books came out by various stars of Star Trek about how she got the role and her relationship with Gene Roddenberry and what was going on. But she was very clear about her relationship with Gene in her own autobiography that, yes, it was a very, very loving, deep, and serious relationship. She was talking like marriage. It was all that and everything you could think about. But I think what people don't realize is that relationship happened well before Gene was doing Star Trek. And so it was well before he was dating Majel. So there might have been a little overlap in that mess. But I think I'm going back to Yvette's word first.
Number one.
Hey, but so I think a lot of the speculation is that the affair was going on while she was doing Star Trek, and that was why she got the part. And I would like to say, no, that is not true.
Debunk that myth, girl.
Debunk that myth. Then the other myth we want to talk about a little bit, it's not really a myth, we're going to get into it a little bit more later, is that, she had a position in this show which was really just dress up, and she was there just because she was so attractive. But we'll go into later that's also not true because her character was really key on that bridge. Mm-hmm. And she did quite a few things that, saved the whole daggone ship. Mm-hmm. So that was, the fact that some people refer to her as a secretary on the bridge, we would like to, ready, ladies, debunk that myth.
Debunk that myth.
Debunk.
All right, here we go. Number 3. And I'm going to say it, and we're all going to do a chorus of, the kiss. Can we get a big, oh my God.
Come on about that kiss. I'm so sick of that.
That was
It was actually a kiss. No.
Go on, Fran. Fran, I'm going to let you go ahead. Debunk that myth, girl.
No, I don't know what that was. I've never seen a kiss like that in my life. I mean, vampires kiss better than that. But anyway.
And we are just so tired of talking about that kiss because it was just like, what in the world? I mean, so we know for a fact that the kiss was supposed to be scripted in there, and she was supposed to kiss Spock first, and then there was the story that Shatner said he wanted to kiss her, and he's kind of like a little instigator and all that. If you're listening to me, Bill, and I know you are. How you doing, boy? How you doing, Bill? Hey, Shat, how you doing? But anyway, Bill, what's up with that? I mean, why were you trying to get into everything? So we're going to debunk that myth.
He was the captain.
Yeah, that wasn't even a kiss. She was trying to get away from him the whole daggone time.
Well, what nobody talks about with the kiss is that, that it was really enforced, It
was forced, yeah.
It was not consensual for either of them. Mm-hmm. But even in the midst of it, she says, I am not afraid, mm-hmm. And, she was so strong, and she's telling, I think she was talking to the audience as well as talking in her role.
I agree.
That like, I'm not afraid, like y'all shorties, I'm going to show you this, mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it still was amazing. I love the fact that they purposely messed up all the takes except for one, so that they would have to show that one take. That was brilliant too. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm, as you all know, I'm just finishing TOS now. So I used to hear about that kiss like my whole life. White boys always want to say, oh, but they had the first interracial kiss. And I'm like, okay, and, whatever. Then I said, you know what, let me watch this thing. And I'm like, is this a kiss? Is this what they've been talking about all these years? I'm like, there's nothing going on here. Right. It's just the same. Well, they're pretty much all the same script. So, I was like, this is nothing special. And then they started with the whips, and there were other things I would have thought about more than that, whatever that kiss, supposedly, my air quotes. So there was a lot going on there besides that forced.
Mm-hmm. It was a forced lock. It was a forced lip lock. It wasn't it was not a kiss. Okay?
But I'm just always amazed that people always bring that up. when
Happily.
they talk about TOS, and you, especially when you say, you know, there's a lot of issues with TOS, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, but remember they had the first interracial kiss," and I'm like, really? This is what you're talking? This is your proof that this is such a great show, you know? But okay.
But in its defense, it was a big deal. The lip lock was a big deal, but we're like, that isn't a kiss. Like,
yeah, I thought it was a kiss. You know, I really thought it was a kiss. Yeah.
There's a generational difference when looking at it now. You know, I mean, we're so used to seeing things very, very differently, and we live in a different world. But that's a perfect segue into Nichelle Nichols and Lieutenant Uhura's impact on the world at that time. You know, so Fran, you know, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it was like for you when you first saw her?
Well, okay. I was a little 11-year-old child, born and raised in the South, was living in the South at that time. And I saw this lady, I think I looked up from a book or something, and I saw her on the screen, and it was in black and white. I didn't know she had on red, because we didn't have a color TV at the time. It was 1966. And I looked up and I saw this lady, and she was on the stage with these other guys, and she was talking really, you know, like she was articulate, and she was, you know, telling them what was going on, and they were actually listening to her. And at that point, we were colored at the time. And 1966, this was really, really a breakthrough for little colored girls like myself at the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look, she's up there. And they're listening to her. She's up there with the guys. And they're actually listening to her. I didn't realize at the time until later on that she was a communications officer, and they really had to listen to her. But I didn't put that together until later on.
Yeah, but you were 11. You get a pass.
I was 11, yeah, you know. and it was so inspirational to me that whenever she was on the screen, I always centered her. She was my center for Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And something else I noticed too. When they showed the captain, she was there in the background. She was there. I think she was strategically placed right there. So you always, in my eyes, just naturally went to her, you know. Mm-hmm. I listened to the other stuff, but to be an 11-year-old black girl, colored at the time, to see that up on the screen, it was amazing. It was awe-inspiring. And I've been a Trekkie ever since. And she was, like I said, inspirational to this little geek girl, you know, who read all the time and saw this lady up there. And I just fell in love with her and the character and all that stuff. 1966, y'all. Okay, this was mid 20th century. Think about it.
So, yeah. Long time ago.
Yeah. Subrina, you're our other resident OG.
That's right, girl. So, we saw this in first run. I was 10 years old when this came on and saw the colored lady on the bridge. And it was, to put it in context, and, you know, had all the same feelings that Fran did. Like, what is going on? You looked up, I mean, you really, like, the whole family was like, you got to see this, you got to see this, you got to come down here and see this. And so, but the thing is, I was also that little, you know, blurred, as we say now, science fiction book club. I have big, thick glasses. I was reading A Wrinkle in Time. I'm that child. And at this time, and we were in the space race. People don't get that when TSO was on, we were in a race.
You mean TOS?
TOS. When TOS was on, we were in a race to beat the communists. I mean, it was serious doings. We were doing, you know, we had, right, Fran? You had desk exercise where you had to run under your desk and hide out because there was going to be an atomic bomb blast. I mean, we were really like, this was serious business. We had to get into space. And here comes Star Trek, and here comes Uhura. Girl, that was all she wrote.
Mm-hmm. I bet. She's amazing.
She was on the front line.
She was on the front line. And we were like, oh, we're going to get into space. We're going to beat the Russians.
You know, and you know, because here's the thing to me about that character is that she wasn't just sitting around looking pretty. You know, she wasn't some vapid, dense, superficial woman, represented on screen. She was smart, intelligent, capable, and thoroughly well trained. Like the thing, and she saved the ship a number of times. She saved people. She saved the crew a number of times. In Galileo 7, she was the reason why Spock and all those folks were saved. Because she took over the science station and she found that planet, right?
So now go back and tell us. Okay, so the OGs gave you our impressions of what happened when we saw Uhura for the first time. So now we have some great age disparities here in the SyFy Sistas, which we're going to use to our advantage.
Gen X.
So, Gen X, when did you come across Uhura? How did it hit you?
Yvette?
Well, I honestly did not pay attention to Uhura because I watched Star Trek probably at the second run because my mother was a big fan and I'm sure she watched it. But then the second run, I was a kid and she watched it all the time while she was cooking because it always came on every day. Mm-hmm. And I thoroughly did not want to watch that. So I knew about her. I always knew about Uhura and Spock. Those were the ones that I didn't know about really anyone else. Uhura came to me in the movies. Like I said, I knew who she was. And every time I went to the movies to watch it, I wanted to know, okay, so what do they have in Uhura do? She better not just be sitting at that damn comm station. I want to see her doing stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's Uhura I know is from the movies. And now in the books, I if I read the novels, they usually give her a little more stuff to do. It's not great, but she's doing more stuff. But yeah, I didn't pay attention to her when she was on TOS because I honestly just didn't want to watch it. But I knew she was there. So that's why I said when I think of her, I think of first, because even though I didn't want to watch it, I knew what that show was about. I knew what it meant. I knew it meant that Uhura was on there. I knew her significance. It's just that I didn't want to watch Star Trek, I probably just wanted to watch cartoons, but I was a little kid, so. But yeah, that's how. I mean, Uhura came to me basically through my mother, and we all knew who she was. We knew that she was the black lady on Star Trek, and she was, somebody to, yeah, I know that lady. That's the lady from Star Trek, But that's pretty much how, through her reverence, there was reverence for her.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. The reverence that was there for me. Star Trek, I've said it a couple of times on the show that Star Trek was one of my first babysitters. Mm-hmm. So I was, running around like 5, 6, 7 years old. And I remember like the big TV at my grandmother's house, my grandmother's and grandfather's house. And they have one of those big floor model TVs, Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I would sit down there in the den in the afternoon and watch Star Trek and play around and do stuff. So, I came up, seeing Uhura on the bridge was just sort of normalized for me what the places where a Black woman could be. So it wasn't anything extraordinary. Like I was so young that basically what she was teaching me was that you belong here too, and this is normal and there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing weird about it for you to be a scientist or in space or commanding a group of white men, or any other people, like this is what you should be. This is what you should be. So, when coming up in my life, she was so influential to me because she was one of the first examples that I had that I could do or be whatever I wanted to be. Right. There really were no limits. So, that was a really powerful, but it wasn't until I was older as an adult, like really older, like I just started doing a rewatch of TOS this year so I could watch it as an adult all the way through and comprehend what I was seeing that I really started to understand her true significance, because she was so highly capable, because she wasn't just a pretty face on that bridge. As a matter of fact, Gene Roddenberry wrote about her character that her understanding of the ship's computer systems is second only to the Vulcan science officer, and she's expert in all ship systems relating to communications. I mean, that's dope.
Hey.
That's dope.
Because we know what happens when the communications go down. That's when stuff, that's when stuff goes wrong. It's like you have to communicate. So now we have our last sister here.
But certainly not least.
No.
No.
Wow. Well.
Yeah, JD,
guess...
what do you think?
And your generation is?
Millennial.
My generation is millennial. I am actually right smack dab in it because I was born in 91. And quite frankly, as someone, I don't know, my mom was a Trekkie, but not like super big Trekkie. She just really liked Kirk. Uhura was there in the 2009 movies. I mean, honestly, for my generation, like, because a lot of people I know my age got started with the AOS movies. Sorry, Yvette, I know about you. But like that was our first like introduction to like Star Trek. And then what does she do? She's annoyed that this white dude in Iowa keeps hitting on her. She kisses the Vulcan. End of movie. And she has nothing happening until like the 2016 Star Trek Beyond film. So yeah, no, she existed. That was it. She was there in the background. Occasionally they reminded us, oh, she's dating Spock in this universe. And so like, okay, whatever. I don't care. She doesn't seem necessary to the plot.
Wow.
So when did you start to get an appreciation of the original Uhura?
Not till I watched the original series, because honestly, beyond that, I mean, the most modern thing is going to be the new alternate universe, and then we have no mention of her. And so I don't know, like for people who probably just got into it and don't know anything about the original series, because I know also a lot of people my age don't like to go back and watch this poorly filmed thing. We like things in HD.
Very
so
true.
like
No imagination.
Like a lot of people don't even watch the original series these days, and that's fine. But it also shows, like, I don't know, she definitely gets lost these days, and it's going to continue to happen. And in a sense, that's kind of good. Like I am happy like my generation isn't like Subrina's or Fran's, where it's all like, look, they gave us a black lady. Now we're just all like, okay, what does she do? Like I need more than for her to like kiss the Vulcan. Like, does she have a job?
So now you have Mariner and you have Michael.
Yes, which is a lot better. And I hope like for like my youngest niece's generation, I hope one day she looks at it and be like, why does it take 4 seasons for a black lady to become the captain? What the hell?
And that's just what she's going to say. She is going to say it. I'm like, wow, really?
However, Michael has always been the center of that. I know we're not talking about Michael, but she's always been the center of that series.
Oh, yeah. It's always been her show.
Yeah, we didn't have to center her. She's always been the center and the lead on that show. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
And no, it may have taken her 3 seasons, but it's her show. She's number 1 on the call sheet. She does everything. So that's the difference between, Uhura and Michael. Where I had to center Uhura, Nichelle Nichols, whereas Michael is automatically centered. If you compare the two.
Right. And so when they start talking about like, well, what did she do? then you can refer them back to the original series and you can show them Uhura actually doing things like saving the crew, multiple times over, like in Who Mourns for Adonai, she's the one who she had to rewire the entire communication system to subvent the jammed frequencies that Apollo made so that they can get in touch with them on the planet. Yep, Uhura saved everybody. Yep.
She manned the science station. She manned navigation. I'm telling you, boy, she took command of the ship. Like, she was no slouch. She was no slouch. But I think that you make a really valid point as to this current iteration of Trek that she was certainly underutilized, to use your word. And that's
Trek.
Other Trek. Yeah, the other Trek. But there's no judgment here, because somebody's least favorite Trek is somebody else's favorite Trek.
Very true.
And
I love all Trek.
All Trek is good. All Trek is good.
More Trek is better.
It's so true. It brings us to to this other point, JD, that you brought up so nicely. Like, it came in Star Trek history, as far as Black women who had significant roles to play in the show. It goes Uhura, Michael Burnham. Mm-hmm. And that's like 50 years in between.
Yes, ma'am.
Like Voyager had no Black woman in any role.
That's why I wasn't watching. But I was watching it. I was watching it,
but I wasn't feeling it.
I was like, wait, the sisters. Wait.
I wasn't feeling it.
Voyager wife. That's it.
Voyager felt to me like the difference between feminism and womanism. Right. Voyager was a bunch of white ladies that were like, I want to go out and work for equal pay, and
left us behind.
Left us behind so we could take care of their kids while they went out to work for equal pay. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
wow.
That's what Voyager reminded me of.
That's how we feel about. Wow.
She went there.
Just saying.
I ain't taking care of nobody's goddamn kids.
But yeah, no.
Do not send anything to our website. Send it right to Tamia.
I ain't taking care of your kids.
Right. But the sister's right. I'm gonna be with you, Tamia. Come on,
I'm with you, sis. I got my own damn kids.
We had but let's think about it. We had the Black woman break through, and she was on the bridge. Right. Because Nurse Chapel was down in the medical thing, and Rand showed up every now and then with the chicken sandwich. She wasn't doing anything, and so there was Uhura. And then, of course, we come to the next thing, and who's the captain? You get to, wait a minute. No, we were the one that did the marching. And you come swooping in.
Right. Right. Like, we're the ones, we got the dog sicked on us,
Okay, that is not in the notes anywhere. That is true.
Just the truth, Ruth, just the truth. But I mean, it's a severe... it's a huge gap, right? It's a huge disparity. Yeah, and it took 50 years, as you said, Fran. What's your line? You said when you went to the New York premiere of Discovery, what was your line?
Oh, I stood up and shouted, I waited over 50 years for this.
That's right.
And they heard me. Everybody in the theater heard me, including the entire cast and production team down in the front.
That's right. We shall not be silenced. Daggone it.
No, I waited over 50 years just to see this, So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I do feel like, Michael Burnham exists because there was Uhura.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. She's on her shoulders. She's on, yeah.
And she says so. Shaniqua Martin has said so.
More than once.
Yeah.
God, I love her. I love Shaniqua. I love Shaniqua as much as I love Nichelle. This is just so wonderful.
Too.
I truly do. I think she's such a great inheritor of this role of that she can play in the Star Trek universe, because she's very cognizant of the importance of representation and what it means to see, she and Michelle Hurd, but especially Sonequa at the helm, for what it means for those of us of our melanin persuasion to see her up on screen with her natural hair now and everything.
Oh my gosh.
And remember, I remember at Shore Leave, the first convention that the SyFy Sistas went to together in 2018. And we all took our picture with Nichelle Nichols, and I was holding a picture of her at the con with the at her station with the afro. Which movie was that? Was that
the motion picture?
The motion that was the original. That was the first movie in the motion picture, right? When she talked about how she fought to wear an afro. She stood strong on wearing her natural hair. And that was like a big deal. The studio didn't want to let her do it. It's like the things that Black folks, and especially Black women, have to do. I need your permission to wear my hair to come out my head like it comes out my head.
Yeah. And Sonequa has mentioned that too. She said, on the show, I want to wear my hair like it grows naturally out of my head. What's the problem with that?
Right.
Because our hair has always been politicized, always has been. So.
And she made, and Nichelle Nichols made that very political statement. With using Star Trek as the vehicle. Of course, it's the perfect vehicle, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
It is.
Yeah. So I think she's leaving us a fantastic legacy.
Yes, she is.
I don't know where the SyFy Sistas would be without her.
Well, no, this one right here, I don't know, because that was a very, Star Trek has been a huge part of my life, since I saw that thing at 10 years old, and I have friends that they just know if something about Star Trek is on, Subrina is watching it. I speak, my ex-husband, we used to speak to each other in lines of Star Trek because we knew what we meant. We could be someplace and say something and know it's time to go, Our second date was to a convention. That's when I said, "Oh, he's the one."
Okay.
So the dry years. Let's talk about that. So we've had this great, and you know what? I want to just say something to Whoopi, because Whoopi, if you're listening, and I know you are, Whoopi. You're my other girl in Star Trek. Don't let anybody say nothing different. I just love Guinan. But okay, let's go on, because don't forget the whoopster. But the dry years. So we're saying, there was a time for Nichelle Nichols, the dry years, and for Star Trek, when we didn't have anything going on. And like we're saying right now, these dry years where there were no Black women in these shows. We had to wait until we got to Deep Space Nine, and then we come up with, Cassidy.
Right.
And it was how many years? It was just going on and on and on
30,
forever.
Maybe?
Right. And then Cassidy, of course, was a side character.
Right.
Even though she was important to the main character of the show.
But everybody on that show was a side character.
Not like that, though. She was she was a true side character.
Yeah, but she definitely did it for me, though.
Howard, she was a strong character in it. She wasn't just, she was a captain of her own. She had her own business. She was a captain of her own ship, and she stood up to Benjamin. It wasn't like, oh, whatever you say. She wasn't like that. She was always strong, and I love the fact that she was the captain of her own ship. And she did what she wanted to do. She even went to prison for her principles.
Oh, don't get us started on that mess.
Okay, but she did. That's what the character did, because she was delivering medical stuff, and she had to go. But she stood up for her principles. That's what I would say, because she could have said, "Well, no, I'm Captain Sisko's girlfriend. I can't be doing stuff like that." But she didn't. And then they got rid of her for a while. Then she came back, and he took her right on back. Like, okay, come on, here we go. Let's go.
Like love.
Let's get burned.
That's a great point, about Cassidy, because and that does show that there was some progress, in the representation. But DS9 is that rare gem.
Yeah.
And DS9 was that
really
rare gem.
Yeah.
And if we look at the rest of Star Trek at that time, if we look at Next Gen, don't even get me started on Next Gen. Don't even get me started.
Remember,
Don't say it.
We heard about Black women in significant roles, but we only heard about them. We never saw them. So, like Geordi's mom, I got so excited. Like, oh, Geordi's mom is in Starfleet too? Oh, she's dead.
Dead.
She was dead when we met her, wasn't she?
Dead, Jim. Yeah.
She was dead when we met her.
She was dead when we met her. We had an alien. We had an alien perpetrating like it was her Geordi's mom.
She was dead when we met her.
She's dead, Jim. She's dead.
Think about it. She was dead
when we met her. Yeah. So that was not right. That's the thing we're talking about here, because and we love Star Trek. I just told you, Star Trek is a major force in my life. But we're gonna have to call it when we see it. That for you talking about this vampire kiss for 50 years and doing all this little crazy stuff is just not acceptable, gentlemen. I'm just telling you. So I'm glad. I'm glad you've kind of gotten your stuff together, and here in the beginning of the 21st century. Since we started this mess in the middle of the 20th century, I'm glad to see that you gave it a 4 pips. But
yes,
yeah. But Uhura, from the time we started with Uhura, she just really the elegant one, the transformative one, the underutilized one. She's the one.
Does anybody have a favorite Uhura episode?
I won't say it's a favorite episode, but it is one that has always stuck with me. Mm-hmm. And it's the episode Bread and Circuses, the Gladiator episode. And she's really not in it at all. It's all Kirk and McCoy fighting in this stupid gladiator thing. But then once they get off, at the end of the episode, these idiots are sitting around I don't understand what that sun was. What is this sun he was looking for? I didn't see no sun. And she just comes in and says, dude, it's a religious reference. Do y'all not read?
She did read them, though. She was looking at them is the sun of God?
She did have that look on her face okay, idiots. These are the idiots that I work with every day.
Every day.
Y'all didn't get that? No, that's not the son they're talking about, And
it's hilarious because you have the whole episode. Kirk and them are trying to figure out what is this sun. Even when they get off the planet, they're still I still don't get it. And she's after listening to them for 30 seconds, she's all he's talking about Jesus.
Does she actually say Jesus?
No. She said the Son of God.
Son of God.
But we know
it's not the sun up in the sky. Right. It's the Son of God.
I know, right?
Yeah, ding dong.
No, you did the line almost perfectly.
Of course.
Ding dong, sir. like Jet would say.
Right.
I love Uhura in Charlie X because we get to see Nichelle Nichols using some of her other talents, and we get to hear that lovely voice when she's singing to the crewmen. They're all in the rec hall together. And I'm oh, it's Star Trek variety show now. Awesome. I was settling in. That's with my popcorn. Yeah, yum yum. That's great. Yay, Lieutenant Uhura. I was that was the first time that I didn't know that she had such a beautiful voice. I didn't know she was such a talented, accomplished vocalist.
I knew none of that until I read her autobiography. I knew none of that all this time in all these movies of Trek. I did not know that.
I liked her in The Trouble with Tribbles.
That was great. That was mine. Yeah.
I really like that one when she's she's cooing at it, and she's in the bar, and and all that. And she takes it back to the ship, and the next morning, all these triples, and Kurt kind of looks at her, and she said, I love it. So that's so sweet, and I was on her side. I'm like, yeah, but who knew these things were like born pregnant, and she's got all these triples, and he's like, please get this cleaned up. But okay, but they're so I liked her in that. I really did.
But the guy gave it to her because she was so pretty, the pretty lady. Yeah. I'm just going to give you a triple. I said, I bet he's going to give her a triple.
I know. When my notes about like the different shows that she's been pivotal in, I have notes on the trouble with triples, and I was like, it's all Uhura's fault.
It really is.
It's all Uhura's fault.
She brought that mess back on the ship, just like Riker bringing that game back. It's like, look, y'all need to clear stuff through something before you bring stuff back on the ship now.
Yeah, so thank you, Lieutenant Uhura, because you're the reason why I now have this awesome triple from Science Division that I've adopted.
And if you're listening,
and JD is showing
that one.
JD is showing off her beautiful triple too.
Oh my God, I love my triple from Science Division. I keep thinking it's my cat because the fur is so realistic. It looks like a real animal. Every time I turn around, is that my cat? Oh no,
it's your triple.
So my favorite one, and it's, me, I love the Mirror Universe, and it is Mirror Mirror. Because my girl came out looking like, okay, who is going to mess with me today? She had the abs going.
I just had those abs.
Mm-hmm.
And she had those black boots and the little the dagger in the side. And I was like, oh my God, look at this. Okay. William Ware Feast, I commend you.
Truly fierce.
Didn't she slap the taste out of Sulu's mouth?
She sure did.
Slapped the taste out of it for real. He did bad.
Really did.
But again, she was the one that had to get on that bridge and had to do that stuff, and nobody was going home.
Yeah.
Kirk sent her in there.
What she did, she distracted and pushed the button.
Let's think about this. You're the only one that is not from this universe. You're in there with all these crazy asses, and you're on this bridge, and you got to get this guy to come back over here and look at this. I mean, I would have been like out of my mind scared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Yvette, you can speak to that.
I've seen that, and I love Mirror Universe, and I always think of Uhura when it comes to how everyone is supposed to look. It all comes from her. That's every time I think about the beginning of the Mirror Universe, when we think about how good everyone looks and how in charge they are, and because she's the only one that you actually see where she's the one, she has to be the powerful one. Like you said, she's on that bridge with everyone that's in that other universe crazy, but she's scared. And I love that they show that she's scared because that's realistic.
Yeah.
She's like, listen, I'm going to do this because I'm Starfleet and that's just the way it's going to go. But then she started feeling herself. When I look at it, I'm like, she started to feel herself a little. She slapped Sulu. She was like, listen, all right, this is for me. She knew where her dagger was. She made sure she knew where it was for the next time. Mm-hmm. From that point on, that's how Mirror Universe is pretty much played. If you look back, the way she looked, her uniform, when you go back to Enterprise, everybody goes off of that. So Uhura is the one that sets the stage for the Mirror Universe, because that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
I love Mirror Universe.
I love everything about Mirror Universe. So, yeah.
Slap the taste out of his mouth.
Right on.
Y'all know about slapping the taste out of somebody's mouth.
Yes.
And did you all know that you guys know her first name, right? Nyota.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
Tell us.
No, to me.
What does it mean?
It means star. It means star in Swahili. Ooh. Do you know who else's name means star in the Star Trek universe?
Tell us, Tamia.
Let us know.
Subrina, it's your girl.
It's my girl.
Who's your girl?
Hoshi Sato.
Hoshi.
Oh shit.
Hoshi Sato, the communications gals. Star. I could just see them in a 1980s cartoon, like with stars all dazzling.
The two of them. Hoshi and Uhura, those are my two girls right there. Ain't nothing happening on these two ships unless it goes through them.
I love me so much.
Did you know that in the autobiography of Jean-Luc Picard, that Uhura is listed as having served as president of the United Federation of Planets in 2327?
No.
Yes, when she sounds like yes. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
You knew that, right? I know. I did not know that until I
Okay,
started doing research for this episode. I mean, who knew that she had gone up to the president?
Well, in Catalyst of Sorrow, I think that's the name of it, she's actually the head of Starfleet Intelligence.
Oh.
And she's been that head for like years, and she's like,
Oh, that would make sense.
Bomb,
cracking codes and
stuff. Well, she's like real. You know how they always send the chief everybody down to the planet, which I don't understand. How you send the CMO down to the away team? But she's the one that sends everybody out in that book, so it made more sense. I mean, they could have put anybody there, but they put her there, and it was pretty cool. So,
well, now you make me want to read the books.
It's a good book. I mean,
name again?
Everybody's in it, so it's a good book.
Title of the book again?
Is in it. Catalyst of Sorrow.
Catalyst of Sorrow. Now
I'll look.
I read so many books. I could be mixing them up. So let me make sure.
I think you all need to read Uhura's Song, which is my favorite of the books, because it's really funny. I was going through it today, and I read it like years and years and years ago. It's about a planet that's being quarantined during a pandemic. Mm-hmm. And it's about colonizing. It's got a lot of things in it that are very, very interesting to read now. And and Uhura is the one that figures out that, the cool thing about it is that they have been forbidden to tell the history of their people, which they say in song. They tell the history of people through song, which is a very African thing, where you have that passing of the history through the one
oral
person
tradition.
that tells us the oral tradition. And so I think take a look at this book, because I was rereading it and saw it from a whole grown-up point of view, not the point of view that I saw it as 15 or whenever I read the book. I don't know. So Uhura's Song.
Good. We're gonna look for that one too. And you know what else we're gonna be looking forward to is the documentary that's finally coming out about Nichelle Nichols and about her real life work with NASA, recruiting Blacks and Latinos and other people of color into NASA before the first space shuttle missions. So that's a woman called Woman in Motion, Nichelle Nichols, Star Trek, and the remaking of NASA. And that's going to be a Fathom event.
Yes.
In the time of the pandemic. So we hope that people somewhere are safe enough that they can go to a theater for this Fathom event, but or wait till it starts streaming somewhere. But it's only has 2 dates, February 2nd and February 4th.
Oh, God.
Okay, CBS All Access, if you're listening, and I know you are, let's get this streamed, okay? Let's get Women in Motion streamed. Let's go, you big studio guys. What's going on here? We want Uhura. We want Nichelle. We want Nichelle.
And let's make a connection, because we found out the reason why Mae Jemison, which was the first Black woman astronaut, became an astronaut because she saw Uhura on the screen. She actually told Alice Kurtzman that's why she became an astronaut, because she saw Uhura.
To be even more specific, Nichelle Nichols, she's a definite recruit. I forget, it wasn't, remember the brother's name? His name escapes me now. I'm so sorry. The one who went up on the Challenger. Charles McNair. Mm-hmm. He was in the program. He was a direct recruit of Nichelle Nichols.
So was Sally Ride. So you know, I mean, there are a lot of people that came in almost all of those Challenger astronauts were directed with Uhura. It was very sad when that went up. So I think you really need to, you know, if you can connect the dots between, you know, like if everybody saw Hidden Figures and you get to that point where, you know, there were no. But that movie makes me cry. It makes me cry every time I see it because it's just like so much was wasted. And there was a quote by the Russians at the time when that happened. They said, the reason why we got into space first is because we use all our people.
Oh, yes.
So anyway, to bring that from the Hidden Figures time, you can't deny the importance of Nichelle Nichols in that recruiting process to get astronauts, and not just, you know, Black astronauts, but white women too. And a thing about Uhura coming out, and we've talked about what she meant to us and as Black women, but I remember going to the con, and one of the things that kind of really got me, and I didn't really realize it, was so many little white girls were affected by this too. They too were like, oh my God, it is a woman on the bridge. And, you know, it had not happened before. And so we were talking to a few white girls who were like, no, she means exactly the same to me. And it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And so we really want to push this, everyone to see Women in Motion. I told you guys the other night, I said, when I saw Uhura and when I was a little kid, I actually wanted to become an astronaut. I went into Civil Air Patrol. I did 2 years of Civil Air Patrol. I remember I cut my hair so that it was, you know, the right length and it couldn't touch my collar, the whole thing. You know, I was going into Air Force. I took the ROTC exam and they tested my ears and I washed out. I had bad hearing, couldn't go. And I was devastated, but I wanted to be an astronaut. I was physics engineering going into college. I mean, I was a total blurred nerd, but all thanks to Uhura. So I still, Uhura, Miss Nichols, that picture of us with Miss Nichols, that is one of my prized possessions. That's one of the greatest moments of my life.
I have to say, like, that was one of the greatest moments of my life. Like, I'm not normally tongue-tied or starstruck. The only other, I mean, I've been raised, I was brought up in my family knew a lot of politicians and celebrities and stuff as I've been growing up. I'm used to meeting famous people, basically. But I've been completely tongue-tied only 3 times. Only 4 times. 4 times in my life. One was when I met Angela Davis. The other was when I met Alice Walker. The third one was when I met Octavia Butler. And the fourth one was when I met Lieutenant Uhura, Nichelle Nichols. I was so overwhelmed by the magnitude of what she meant to me, you know, personally, that nothing could come out except for, you know, just thank you. But I remember, I cherish that moment with us in this show. I mean, and when we got to meet her, because she was so overwhelmed when she saw all 3 of us at that time. There were 3 SyFy Sistas. When she saw all 3 of us together with that photograph of her and her natural hair, she started crying. All wearing our disco shirts. It was all like wearing our disco shirts. Coming all the way around. We were all up in there like
full circle.
This is so wonderful. So it was really touching. So, you know, I think we've had it's been wonderful to sit here and talk about her and what she means to us and her importance in our society today. Any final thoughts that anybody wants to put out?
Just that I love her.
Yeah, I love her, and I hope that she gets to hear this, you know.
Nichelle, if you're listening, and I know you are. Miss Nichols,
we love you.
I mean, Miss Nichols, Auntie Nichelle.
Our queen. Right. We love you so much. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, sisters. This has been a fantastic discussion.
Hey.
It's so good to do this all together.
I know.
So we'd also love to hear your thoughts, listeners, about our conversation, or about Nichelle Nichols or Lieutenant Uhura. So Yvette, how can people get in touch with us?
Well, you can reach us on our new website. It's SyFy or you can have fun with us on Facebook on the Mothership. And I'm going to spell Mothership for you because I don't want you to spell it wrong because you won't get to see us.
Spell SyFy Sistas too.
Oh, okay. Let me do Mothership first. Mothership is MUTHASHIP. And SYFYSISTAS.
Yes, we can spell here
There
at the
you
SyFy
go.
Sistas.
Oh my God. Or
We're
you
some
can,
smart gals.
we really are. You can join our Facebook page, which is SyFy Sisters, and you can join our book club. We would love to have you.
We would love to have you for any of those things and all of those things. So come on and join us. I would be hugely remiss if I did not give a shout out to the best engineer in the whole or any universe, Dos the Anonymous. Yay. Dos the Anonymous. You can reach him at DOSTHEANONYMOUS1, the number 1 at gmail.com. And of course, we'd like to extend another huge thank you to Trek Geeks, Dan and Bill. Thank you you've raised a really high bar, and we hope we've been worthy of your time, listeners, as stand-ins for Dan and Bill this week. And if you have a chance and you haven't joined the fun over at their Facebook group, Camp Kittimer, please do. It's the best Trek group out there.
Best
I love
Trek
Camp Kittimer.
Ever. Yes.
So time to say goodbye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
We love you.
Adios. Hasta luego.
Until next time, we're the SyFy Sistas, and we're out of here. Peace, love, and hair grease.
LLAP.
Well, buddy, what can we say? That was an amazing discussion. We are so grateful to the SyFy Sistas for coming to Trek Geeks and sharing their positivity and their voices and their experiences with our audience. It is something that that we hope to do again in the future for sure.
I'm probably going to listen to their podcast more than I listen to this one from now on, to be honest with you.
And considering you don't listen to ours, that's pretty amazing.
No, they were absolutely fantastic. It was great to get that history from them, from some of them, and their thoughts on what an incredible woman Nichelle was and is, and what that character means to them. It was fantastic, and just an awesome way to kick off Black History Month, man. That was just awesome.
Yeah, it really is. We look forward to continuing more about that later on. But of course, Dan, we do have to thank our friends, the band 5 Year Mission, for all the music they provide for the Trek Geeks Podcast Network and for the Trek Geeks Podcast. 6 years now, and I tell you what, it makes our show sound so much better, because to hear our voices drone on and on and on really was just, it makes paint flake. That's really what it does. So get it out to 5yearmission.net. Get all their albums. Get that CD in your hands of physical media, because we guarantee you're going to become a huge fan just like we are.
I'm a flake.
Oh, don't I know it?
Yeah, thank you. I got to say, though, again, I just said it a minute. What a great episode with the SyFy Sistas, man. Just they're so wonderful, and their topic of conversation was phenomenal. Uhura is a legend, a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of light for so many back when TOS originally aired, and still is to this day. She commanded her station. She stayed strong all the time. But Bill, do you remember that time she couldn't turn off the internal communications of the ship when Riley was in engineering? Yeah. Could you imagine if he was singing a 5 Year Mission song instead of "I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen"? That could have been awful, depending on what you think of 5 Year Mission. But that just would have been something that she would never have lived down. If that had been the case, from that point on, Bill, Uhura's famous line might have been, "Hailing frequencies open, Captain."
What is wrong with you? Really? Hailing frequencies open? What?
Yeah. But luckily it did. But luckily it didn't happen, right? So we can
Yeah, dodged a bullet there.
Well,
Yeah, 5yearmission.net. Please download all their albums. Don't forget, you too can support the Trek Geeks Podcast Network by subscribing to us on Patreon, where you can get all kinds of exclusive perks.
That's right, man. We really pride ourselves on the perks that we have available for our supporters because we use small businesses to help us, and we love supporting small business. Our annual supporters pin is produced by our very good friends over at Fansets, and our world famous supporters t-shirt is made by a local small business called Mint Printworks right down the road in Nashua, New Hampshire. And just a little teaser, Bill and I are coming up with some new perks for later this year, which will really raise the bar. Right now, though, we want to take a moment to thank our associate producers for Trek Geeks. We are so grateful for their support. And they are Dave Andrews, Vikram Bhatt, Luke Burnham, Brad DeMag, William Edward M. Jr., Brandon Everidge, Andy Fark, Kimberly Francis, Jonathan Hamilton, Brooke Horton, Ryan Jeffs, John Krikorian, Sean Lynn, Rick Mason, Jamie McGregor, Aaron Mollenkoff, Shane Murray, Tim Robertson, Greg Rozier, Eric Sakian, Adam Sanders, Blake Strike, Tim Serdar, Heather Sohn, Jim Stoffel, Lisa Tomlinson, Jessica Dax Vincent, Trey Womack, Ron Robel, and because it's Snowpiercer is the last whatever in the world, the gracious and wonderful Conrad Hutchins.
You got to hear the Patreon content to hear about Snowpiercer.
Sorry about that, people who don't listen.
Yeah. So it's patreon.com/Trek Geeks. Of course, we want to thank our Trek Geeks producers for their support. They are Mike Bovia, Chaz Bradshaw, Ken Bird, Kyle Castillo, Peter Craig, Craig Ewing, Al Godwin, Jackie and Chris Hackney, Kimberly Hartman, David Hood, Tony Lambast, Lionel Marchand, Matt McGonigal, Jim McMahon, Charlie Mulvey, Sean O'Halloran, Jamie Rogers, Casey Shafsky, Chris Trebuzio, Ken Tripp, Christina Werther, and the lovely and talented Jess Fashon.
You too can become a producer on the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, and it is so easy to do. Head on over to patreon.com/Trek Geeks for all the details.
Dan, next week we continue our month-long celebration of Black History Month with another amazing guest podcaster.
Yeah, it is just so great to be able to do this on the network, man. Their voices should be and deserve to be heard. So next week, we will welcome another great African-American podcaster to the show as David Majors from the Promenade Merchants podcast guest hosts the show and talks about the one, the only, Jake Sisko. Next week on Trek Geeks, the flagship of the podcast, Trek Geeks Podcast Network. Jumping ahead of myself.
I don't even know the name of the network.
Trek Geeks.
The Trek Geeks Podcast Network. Yeah. For even more great Star Trek discussion, please check out the other member podcasts of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. Of course, in addition to Rewind, Politrek's 5-Year Mission, Infinite Trek, and Deep Space Pride, you can now hear the latest podcast of the network, The Divine Treasury, a Star Trek Collectibles podcast with Jamie Rogers and Mike Bovia. Of course, you can find all our podcasts, including where to listen, by visiting trekgeeks.com/listen.
The Trek Geeks Podcast Network. No one talks Trek like we do.
And of course, for all the news on all the Star Trek CO, please visit our great friends at treknews.net. For now, this has been episode number 249 of the Trek Geeks Podcast. We do hope you all live long and prosper.
Debunk that coconut.
That's really easy because coconut sucks. So do you.
Wow.
I know. It amazed me too.
So true.
Music for Trek Geeks is provided by 5-Year Mission. They're writing an original song for each episode of Star Trek. Hear more of their music at 5yearmission.net. Trek Geeks is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.